In the build-up to Plants vs. Zombies Replanted, if you knew me personally or had any messaging access, you'd know I was quite critical of the game shown off. It wasn't until the game leaked 1 week before launch that the whole world found out what Replanted was. The firestorm was harsh on Twitter/X, and I joined in on the sentiment when I published this image the same day Terror's video dropped on the subject. It received much more attention than I anticipated, and I wanted to take the time to explain the origin of this piece and its meaning. If you want to figure out the meaning of all the details for yourself, I recommend pausing or revisiting this video when you're ready. Now, while I came up with the composition and overall idea, the actual piece was drawn by the longtime artist for the channel, Derpyroot. As many people have already pointed out, the art style was heavily inspired by political cartoons of the early 20th century. The black and white look wasn't just a stylistic choice, but a deliberate attempt to mimic a genre that is all about communicating a message. The primary goal of political cartoons is to convey complex ideas or situations in a single creative image. This piece specifically was inspired by this Woodrow Wilson political cartoon, drawn by a British publication in retaliation to Wilson's initial hesitation to get the US involved in World War I. The core centerpiece of the image is a bowling ball crushing a birthday cake, with the cake representing Replanted itself and the bowling ball symbolizing all the issues the game is riddled with. This idea was directly inspired by a Season 1 episode of The Simpsons, in which Homer buys Marge a gift and a bowling ball falls on top of her cake. Illustrating Replanted as a cake represents the idealized version of the product. It's a nice, compact, and delicious experience that combines the best parts of PvZ1. Now, for the juiciest part of all of this, the words written on the bowling ball itself. Fake concept art refers primarily to the hodgepodge of random images PopCap put together for their art gallery, not asking Rich for any of his actual sketches. The images were either ripped from other sources, such as the art book, or complete fabrications. Either way, it doesn't at all encompass the behind-the-scenes artistry we all wanted to see. AI upscale has caused some frustration about potentially spreading misinformation, but here's the bottom line. It's pretty clear that PopCap used AI upscaling in the creation of many of the game's sprites. While all the graphics are drawn from the ground up in the final game, the use of AI upscaling and its moral implications are up for you to decide. However, there were examples of upscaling making the final cut, or artifacts of upscaling being present that weren't fine-tuned enough. So yes, the game's art has been made from the ground up, but the tools used to get there have some moral concerns. Bugs, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. PopCap has been actively engaging in damage control by releasing patches as quickly as possible after the game's release. This stems from the removal of key features and a general lack of polish. Finally, recycled code has stirred some confusion. This is in reference to the discovery that the game is built on the Windows Phone version, likely due to it being written in a more friendly coding language that could easily be ported over to modern devices. The point here is that PopCap dusted off a crusty version of the game to build their new and improved version, or so they advertised. To round out, the present the bowling ball is falling out of has launch written on it. The issues didn't come to light until the leaked build, just around the time of launch. Even when the game launched and a patch was rushed out, it didn't fix the numerous issues people had with the game. The person holding the present is PopCap itself. I considered creating a hybrid PopCap/EA persona, but the game's execution is solely PopCap's fault. I'm sure EA wanted them to make a PvZ1 remake, but the actual methods and means of producing said remake are all on PopCap's leadership. There are some captions at the bottom that add a bit of flavor text. Their respect is a stern and cynical take on PopCap's treatment of the game, that they supposedly put so much love and care into this version of the game only for it to turn out half-baked. Then, at the bottom, is my personal favorite part of this piece that reads, "Incognizant PopCap, to its crown jewel. I am the master of this piece. It is definitive." I specifically chose the word incognizant, which is a synonym for ignorant or oblivious, to demonstrate PopCap's complete cluelessness about what the fans really want and their lack of understanding of the source material. Essentially anything Matt Townsend says.
Many people listen to the soundtrack and the sound effects of Plants vs. Zombies long after they play the game.
What's going on, guys? Danerade back again with another fantastic video today. We are going to be listening to the gargantuan sound effects as I mimic it.
to its crown jewel, obviously references P-Shooter here, being a face of their most iconic franchise, but I also use the same language in my section of Terror's video. It's hard to imagine that PopCap would screw up its crown jewel of a character. I am the master of this piece is a play on words of the word masterpiece, which I have gone on record to describe the original Plants vs. Zombies. PopCap not asking any of the original developers back is them exercising their authority over the franchise, them saying, we have control of your baby and we'll handle it ourselves. Finally, It Is Definitive addresses the idea that PopCap constantly touts this to be the complete and indisputably best version of the game.
So when we put together Replanted, we really looked at making this the definitive edition of the classic PvZ.
And there you have it, the entire history and meaning of what has been simply called the PvZ political cartoon. As stated in my community post, I will not be creating a main channel video on the subject matter, but I feel I have accomplished more than enough with the creation of this piece to communicate the idea that we deserve better.